post the 8th of November, Digital India has been identified essentially with cashless India, or now less cash India, or broadly financial inclusion. But Digital India, when it was envisaged by the government, when it was put forward as a mission, as part of its mission by the government, had a lot more to it. It included sectors like education, healthcare. It talked about how the government can use technology to enhance the experience for consumers, how government services can be accessed by citizens in a much more meaningful way. So I want to start by talking about what happened post the 8th of November, where we saw a big spike in digital transactions, expectedly so, and that was because people had absolutely no choice. But since then, we've actually seen a decline, but I'm told that in the month of March, again, there has been an uptick as far as digital transactions are concerned. It is not something that's going to happen overnight. It is going to take a lot of effort on the part of everyone involved, of all stakeholders, to ensure that this is an ecosystem that is developed. So let me start by asking Mr. Amitabh Kant, sir, post the 8th of November, we saw that sharp spike, and as I pointed out, there was no choice, so people had to go digital. But in the month of January, in the month of February, we've seen those numbers decline as the withdrawal limits were lifted by banks, lifted by the Reserve Bank of India. We've seen people move back to cash. As the SBI chairman Arundhati Bhattacharya told me in a conversation that we had, that her big fear is that people shouldn't go back to their old habits. How concerned are you today, and where do you see this now headed?
Sharing two things. First of all, digital, as you rightly said, Digital India is much more than digital payment. It really means about using technology to leapfrog across sectors for India: health, education, nutrition, many other areas where India needs to radically move forward. But on digital payment side, a huge amount of work has been done in the last couple of months. We saw this downward trend in January, February, with cash coming back. But March, again, we're seeing upward movement. And I think this upward movement is likely to continue, simply because there's been so much of technological innovation in this area. First and foremost, UPI has seen a growth of 23%, close to 23%. But more important than that, that India has been able to build a totally interoperable system at the back end, and that has enabled very unique things to happen. The BHIM app is a very, very simple and very easy app to use. And BHIM Aadhaar brings in a huge amount of disruption. It enables you, using your iris or your fingerprint, to do any transaction. It will make things so easy. So actually, as a strategy, if there are 400 million smartphones in this country, they'll be able to use a number of platforms, from wallets to BHIM app to UPI to USSD as well. But there are another 300 million who don't have smartphones at all, and they'll be using *99#. That is USSD. But what BHIM Aadhaar enables you to do is what is happening today in Krishna and Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh, and is now started happening in Jharkhand, is that all ration shop dealers will then become the banking agent and would be able to do cash in and cash out. So when I go to take my ration, I may not have a phone at all, because there are close to 300 million who don't have a phone at all. And they go to take their ration card, they go to take their ration, and when they go to take their ration, on your phone, on the ration card, the ration dealer will be able to then use his mobile phone to not merely weigh his ration and give the ration, but also do cash in and cash out for the person.
So you said this is already being experimented on in pilot projects?
Yeah, it's been a very, very successful operation in Krishna and Godavari district, and this is going to get expanded across the country. But what will eventually happen in India is that every single smartphone will, each one of us will become a walking ATM. We will all use our Aadhaar number or our thumb impression or our iris to do digital transaction. And each one of us, using our mobile phone, can then become a merchant and do transaction for others. So banks can then make me a merchant. Actually, I'm today a merchant for IDFC Bank, and I can do transaction for you. It's not just person-to-person transaction, but I can also do a merchant transaction. And actually, the biggest disruption to my mind will happen as a consequence of Bhim Aadhaar, that in due course, that will make it so easy. And let me tell you that since I do transaction on Bhim Aadhaar, it's so easy, so simple, that I find handling debit card and credit card very complex and very difficult.
Okay. Several things that you spoke of. So since you've given us this vision of walking ATMs and all of us sort of being these walking ATMs, are you going to ensure that you're going to be putting the cash in these walking ATMs, Mr. Kant? Because the current ATMs seem to be struggling to keep up with that.
So, Shireen, when I say walking ATM, I mean rich people like you have huge,
like me, is it?
Like me, have huge bank accounts, and each one of us who have a bank account can then take money directly from our account and transfer it. When I talk about walking ATM, I mean that you don't have to go to an ATM at all. You will directly transfer money using your thumb impression from your mobile, because what the Bhim Aadhaar does is it has linked your mobile number and your Aadhaar number to your bank account. And in the last 13 days, actually, we have brought on board 7.26 lakh merchants. In just 13 days, we brought on board 7.26 lakhs merchant on board. And, what it does is that you can either do a mobile-to-mobile transfer, you can do a Aadhaar-to-Aadhaar transfer, or you can do a bank account-to-bank account transfer. And what I would suggest to all of you, because we've had close to 20 million downloads of Bhim, just do Bhim Aadhaar transactions. You'll find it so simple that you'll forget all your worries in the world. You'll forget all the hassles of doing financial transactions. It's the easiest thing in the world. And it's so simple, so easy, that you can do mobile-to-mobile, Aadhaar-to-Aadhaar, or account-to-account transfer. And it's the simplicity of it will enable it to make a huge disruption in India. And to my mind, over a period of time, we need a change of mindset. The biggest thing with financial disruption or digital disruption is that we need to change mindsets of Indians. And I find it quite amazing that people in Krishna and Godavari district or the tribals in Jharkhand are able to accept this digital transaction much more easier than the elite class of Delhi and Mumbai. Because the people in Delhi and Mumbai have got so used to cash. Cash has become a part of their blood system. So you need to disrupt that. But people in rural areas and Krishna Godavari district do it very easily and very simply.
Okay, so several things that you've spoken of, and the two headlines that have come in, 20 million downloads of Bhim Aadhaar already, and 7.26 lakh merchants being added on over the last 13 days. Vaidyanathan, let me ask you, Mr. Kant is always great at throwing this picture to us, which makes us all feel optimistic and confident. But let's do a reality check. And I would imagine that this throws up a lot of opportunities for players like yourself as well. But where do you see the gaps? And what do you believe are the key challenges that still need to be addressed?
First of all, I think we saw an outstanding salesperson in Bhim in Mr. Amitabh Kant just now, and you can see the
He's
passion.
a brand ambassador.
Yeah, he's a brand ambassador, and of course our Prime Minister is a brand ambassador as well. And actually, it's incredibly easy. In fact, on my Twitter account, I've been telling people all the time, try Bhim at least once. You will just love it. You'll fall in love with it. It is true. And as many people as I've demoed it to, they've just been amazed. And the interesting thing is, by the way, that if you ask a forum like this of maybe 300 people, you'll be surprised that not more than maybe 10% of them would have actually tried Bhim. And that's one thing that, we may need to fix. Basically, someone needs to go out there and passionately champion it. That's one. But let me talk about the other big issue that's there right now. Whenever we talk of financial inclusion, we usually tend to talk of financial inclusion on the deposits side and the banking account side, which is what our Jan Dhan has solved.
Yes.
Maybe 25 crore accounts. The bigger issue, or I'll say equally big issue, is on the
Lending
side. And there's a huge financial exclusion there. And in my mind, one of the key reasons for such financial exclusion is that almost every bank have a set of programs, and the programs are basically giving loans to people on the basis of whether they file income tax returns or not. And we know only 3% of India file tax returns, and then basically straight away exclude at least 50% of India. So there, in that sense, to solve that financial exclusion is a very big issue.
Okay.
And I think there, the new age technologies, which is artificial intelligence, etc., riding on the platform that has been built through the UPI and a singular identity of Aadhaar is going to make a big, big change. We are seeing such change.
Is the disruption already happening on the lending side?
It's happening in a big way. Let me tell you where. For example, you've probably always heard of a loan in the form of a home loan or a car loan or education loan. That's what you've learned. If I ask you a loan, that's what you'll probably say. But new opportunity lending is, what about lending to a college student for pocket money? What about lending for vocational courses, not the education loan of an MBA? Now, these are big, big markets, unaddressed to anyone, and this market opens up. It's probably a multiple of the known market, and this market is opening up in a big way, and we are seeing it, we are doing it. We built a 19,000 crore loan book in just 5 years doing these kind of technologies. It's real.
Okay. So, you're one of the players you said that is addressing this opportunity, but to really be able to grow this market sizably, what do you believe needs to be done, and what is the kind of impetus, if anything at all, that Mr. Kant and the government can provide?
In my opinion, the big factor that is yet to be done, despite the launch of Bhim and Aadhaar, is to actually make the existing ecosystem accept it and in a big way educate and advertise it. I'm finding Paytm, which is not a government, it's an independent entrepreneur building up in Paytm, the number of full page ads, front page ads out there saying that, the day the demonetization announced, next morning they were out there with a full page ad saying that come on to Paytm.
It led people to believe that they knew.
Yeah, I didn't see a similar ad like that from anybody else, or MPCA for that matter. So my comment therefore is that we should be far more out there in your face saying that these are step by step, let's move with it. We need to see a lot more action. One day I actually said that get some ambassadors, maybe just film actresses, maybe Sunny Leone, I don't know what you do, but just get
Sunny
there.
Leone, that's a thought.
Shiri, the point therefore is, it's just it's a joke. But the point still is that, get it out there and get people to experience it and put it in their face and make people download it. I feel even that sometimes the existing system is kind of threatened by these new technologies because money will move away from the banking system, and maybe to even get them to back down on the threats because it's overall good for the system.
Yeah, a good point that you made. And Mr. Kant, I just wanted to respond to the disruption that Vaidyanathan is talking about on the lending side, and that being perhaps the next wave that we're talking about when we speak of financial inclusion.
Yeah, it's very critical because what is really going to happen is that, we're going to become a very data-rich country. And as a consequence of that, we are opening up this whole world of data analytics. And physical banks are just going to go dead. There will be no concept of physical bank. The cost of a physical bank will be so high that everybody actually, and I really appreciate all these new banks which have, and the new payment banks which have gone on using technology, because the access to data will be so enormous that data analytics will enable you to lend to people. And actually, this will be the biggest driver
in developed markets, the bank is not dead. I mean, the physical bank is not dead by itself.
Yeah, so that's what makes India very, very different from the developed world. That India has this opportunity of making physical banks physically dead. India can make this quantum jump by 3 decades using technology now. And because you have access to mobile phones, you have biometrics, which nobody in the world has, 1 billion biometrics, and because you have an interoperable banking system at the back, which no other country in the world has. All this combined together, 1 billion mobile, 1 billion biometrics, and an interoperable banking system in the world. This enabling of this data is the biggest boon for this country, that you will enable data to be analyzed, and a person living below the poverty line who used to run around these bankers, run around physical bankers to the bank managers trying to get a loan, will not required to be, that'll all be dead, because it'll be the data analytics which will give you an ability to lend to that person. And what Vaidya is saying is absolutely correct, that the biggest potential for India is to convert medium, small industries and people actually, I worked for long periods with the fishermen community in Kerala trying to bring new technology, outboard motors, new crafts, fiberglass crafts to them, or new nets. It was so difficult to give a loan to a person in that community. Today, that ability to analyze data and give loan to him, and therefore bank managers, their ability, their discretionary power will die out. It will be the history, the track history. And therefore, India has this huge opportunity to lift, using technology to lift vast segments of our population above the poverty line. Okay. Sheer technology will make that happen.